On this week's episode, Elijah Hollands. Born in South Australia, Elijah would start his junior career through West Adelaide under the watchful eye of his father and former Richmond and West Adelaide player, Ben Hollands. At the age of 11, Elijah and family would make the move to Albury, Wodonga. At the age of 15, while playing for the Wodonga Bulldogs, Elijah would be selected and identified to play for the Victorian under-15 schoolboys. In a chance meeting during one of their practice matches, Elijah would be given the opportunity to join Caulfield Grammar School, before being selected in the Murray Bushrangers under-16 squad and Vic Country squad. A huge achievement at 16 years of age, he was named All-Australian. Elijah would continue to juggle his football commitments between Murray Bushrangers, Caulfield Grammar and Vic Country until his Year 12 year, where he would taste both individual and team success, representing Caulfield Grammar School in the APS Premiership, Australian Honours, Vic Country Honours, and being selected to participate and captain Team Brown in the NAB Futures curtain raiser before the AFL Grand Final. Welcome Elijah Hollands to Talent Talk. Hello and welcome to Talent Talk. In today's episode, we have Elijah Hollands. Welcome, Elijah.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
We'll get started with the first question. And for our viewers who may not know who you are, tell us about your football journey and what made you want to play football.
So my football journey actually started in Adelaide. I was born in Adelaide and lived there for the first minority of my childhood. So I played Auskick there and played the lower levels of some junior footy there, just through the under 7s and 8s. Just locally in Adelaide, my dad was playing SANFL footy at the time. So yeah, that's why we were there. And then we moved over to Albury, Wodonga in country Victoria and also regional New South Wales. It's on the border. So yeah, we relocated there in 2010. Obviously, footy continued through there. Started to play some club footy in the under 12s and working through there just locally at Wodonga. And then footy progressed through there. So I played realistically my first shot at rep footy was in the under 15 stateside, in the under 15s Victorian side. So that's where I really got my first look in at what I guess the best footy you can be playing at that certain age group looks like. And from there is when Big Baz gave us a chat and pulled mum and dad aside after one of the trial games at Caulfield before we headed away for the actual carnival. And he pulled mum and dad aside and he said, would Elijah like to come for a tour? So I did all that and obviously loved Caulfield and loved, even the initial tour that they took us on and with the boarding staff as well. So yeah, headed down there in 2018, which was the start of my year 11 year. I started school a year early, thankfully. But yeah, so I did year 11 and 12 down at Caulfield. Played in the under 16s for country carnival and played as a bottom major in the under 18s last year. But yeah, my footy journey's been a pretty lucky one. I've been fortunate enough to play for a fair few sides, which has been great. But to answer your second question, I played footy because it's born and bred in my family.
Yep. I
didn't really have an excuse to, not that I would have chose to not play anyway, but footy's run through generations and generations of my dad's side of the family. So footy was a no-brainer. But obviously something else that I've taken out of it, I do still love the social side of footy. I know I've played some, I guess what you can call some higher end style of footy. But yeah, I still love the social side of it. I love being in and around footy groups and footy clubs with even expanding out to the training staff and the coaching staff. And that's just something that I really enjoy being around.
Good stuff. And you finished year 12 in 2019, and as well as both personal and team achievements, such as the APS Premiership, your All-Australian selection, Vic Country, and being named captain for Team Brown in last year's Futures game before the AFL Grand Final. What expectations did you have leading into 2020?
Yeah, so obviously I gained a little bit of momentum towards the back end of 2019. It was awesome to be a part of the Caulfield flag. I know it's been close and personal. It didn't quite go the way we wanted to in the end, but But yeah, it was still an awesome year when we really sat down and had a look back on how everything went. It was a great success and something that will be close to my heart for a long time, winning that premiership. But yeah, my expectations were definitely high for 2020. I wanted to become more of a midfielder. That was sort of where things were going. I was able to slowly build that at the end of last year, playing a lot of Caulfield minutes in the midfield, and then on Team Brown on grand final day, and even getting a little stint in the second half against WA in the national championship, sort of just showed me the ropes a little bit. Obviously, I've spent a lot more time forward than what I have in the midfield over the last couple of years, but I think that I have the ability to be able to go in there. So that was definitely the first, I guess, goal, and the first expectation was to make it as a midfielder in 2020. I wanted to be able to get back to the bushies and be a real leader there. I had some experience and some knowledge coming through from Caulfield footy, especially in the APS, but also playing Vic Country for a couple of years in a row. So I think I had the knowledge and experience to be able to share that with the bushies guys. And unfortunately, I still wasn't able to do that even without footy being played. But yeah, I think to start things off, we wanted to get some team success around the bushies. I know the NAB League, at the end of the day, the goal is to get kids drafted, but coming into the season with the bushies, we had a big goal in creating some team success, because obviously team success creates a lot of individual success behind it or following it. So we did want to get some wins under the board, and then I wanted to follow through and hopefully had a good nationals with the country. But since footy and since my knee and since footy got taken away, I think my goals obviously had to change. So that sort of reshifted to things such as attacking my rehab and ticking off timelines and that to follow there.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of your knee injury, how's it progressing, and what sort of rehab and processes were put in place to get you back to full fitness?
Yeah, so it's going really good. I had my first running session this morning, actually, which was a great feeling. I think it ticked off more of an emotional goal than what it did a physical goal. Obviously, that first running session back is a big tick. And yeah, it just gave me a whole lot of confidence coming into the next few weeks as I start to build up those running blocks that I'm ready to go. But coming out of rehab, it's a slow start. My surgeon, Tim Whitehead, said the moment that I walked out of surgery in March that there wasn't going to be running until the 6-month mark, and then setting that in stone enables us to create a good timeline from the day of surgery to the 6-month mark, what that can look like and what the timeline looks like. So early on, it was a lot of just stuff in my bed, just straightening my knee out and pointing my toes and flexing my toes to the ceiling. So that sort of stuff just to get it all moving again. It starts as slow as that. And then starting in the gym, starting obviously with upper body stuff, not being able to touch my legs at the start, and then putting a higher emphasis on leg exercises as I was starting to get some strength back into it. And then, for the last 2 or so months, I've been going pretty much full stack at the gym and until my first run this morning.
Awesome. And you've mentioned already about your family being a big influence in particular your father. Are there any other people or coaches that have made a big impact on your football journey so far and helped you along your way?
Yeah, so there's probably 2 big ones. Ant Phillips and Lee Brown, my Vic Country coach. They obviously worked really close with me over the last couple of years and have probably been the 2 coaches that have done the most with me, purely because I've had the most time with them. Obviously, Ant's massive. He's really invested in the program that he runs. He really wants to see the guys that he coaches get better and become better people as well as better footballers. And yeah, he definitely helped me with that. He helped me, I guess, create or embrace a role. I think he really gave me the opportunity at the start of last year to get some minutes in the mid. Obviously knowing that that's my intention through school footy and through NAB League and stuff. So to give me that initial opportunity is something that I guess helped me propel. And Brownie as well, working with the Big Country guys, he's been really good as well on a relationship level and on a football level also. So working with him over the last 20 months, he's the same as Ant, knowing when to give me some constructive feedback on things that I can do better, and they both, in the same way, they both tell it to you straight. So that's something that has really helped me as well, just so instead of beating around the bush with some constructive feedback, I'm able to tell you straight on, just so you can get on with it, which is all stuff that's really benefited me.
Wow. So just on that, Elijah, you've mentioned your Vic Country and Caulfield coach there. You also have played with the Murray Bushrangers and obviously representative footy. Which one of the leagues or teams that you were representative brought you the biggest challenge, and what's your favourite moment so far in your footy career?
I think APS footy and NAB League footy dish up two very different challenges.
Right.
I think APS footy is a lot more contested and inside. They're smaller grounds. You get some of those bigger school guys running around, and it can be found that it's a lot in the contest and a lot of stoppage work, which is something that I really needed to work on coming into school footy, especially after my 15th year and my first year of playing state footy. Coming in as a 16-year-old, it was definitely something I needed to work on. I had a lot of footy on the outside, and developing an inside game is still something that's a goal of mine to improve. But playing school footy really helped me with that. So that was something I had to pick up pretty quickly. Otherwise, I wasn't going to get my hands on the footy much playing for school if I wasn't able to do that.
Yeah.
And NAB leagues different in terms of it's a lot more spread apart. You get a lot more space. That's the whole goal of the NAB league. It's to get as many one-on-ones as possible just so kids can show their talents. So, that's a whole different challenge. You got to run more. You got to find different spots. It's not just you getting your own footy now. It's also working to get on the outside as well, because there are a lot of people going for that footy. So, they present up different challenges, but ones that I think are really beneficial for everyone as well, and especially for me, just to be able to complement my game on both sides.
Cool.
One of my favourite moments, I think running out on grand final day was pretty cool. It's pretty hard to go past realistically. Obviously, the APS flag is something that's massive as well. It's one of my only 2 premierships, and winning it with your schoolmates that you see every day is honestly, it's a great achievement and something we're all very proud of. So those 2 are pretty big. I think just running out, knowing it's grand final day, you're out on the MCG, it's something that I definitely took in. I knew coming into it that if I wasn't going to take it in, it was just going to fly past. So I definitely took the time to soak it all in before going out and playing. But both awesome footy moments.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'll just add something too. Was that goal celebration pre-planned?
Well, me and Jamara was speaking during the week because we were obviously on the same side, and goal celebrations were a big part of the Vic Country program. There was a few of those boys who really enjoyed a celebration, and I caught on to that. I think it just brings a bit of fun into it, and that's how I like to play. So it was a little bit pre-planned. Jamara sort of suggested it, and then as I kicked a goal, he looked at me and he said, "Are you going to do it?" So I sort of had to bring it out. But again, it's just a part of, I think, my sort of football makeup. I do try and have fun out in the field as well as taking it as seriously as I can. I still try and enjoy those kind of moments.
Oh, that's awesome. And you said you were born in Adelaide. I have a funny feeling that I've heard that you are a Crow supporter. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Okay. So just on that, I think I know who the player is going to be, but which AFL player inspires you, and what type of player do you aspire to be?
So there's a lot of footballers that are obviously really inspiring, but someone that I try and be like as a midfielder is Marcus Bontempelli. So I think he's got that size and frame, which is pretty similar to mine. I'm not quite as tall as him, but I think we've got similar frames and similar attributes. He's very composed with the footy and knows how to use it well, and I think that's something that I have as well. So, obviously trying to add to my midfield craft. I'm obviously not solidified in there yet. He's one that I've definitely loved watching. And obviously, being a Crows supporter, you watch blokes like Rory Sloane every week. He's just one of the ultimate competitors, and just one more that's inspiring. I think Rory's definitely up there in terms of that.
Oh, that's cool. And just on that, is there... I know you've been saying that you've been working on your midfield craft. Is there a certain area of your game where you think you really need to improve?
So it is that inside stoppage sort of grunt work that I've been trying to work on, and that's what I was working on over the summer as well. So being able to use my size a little bit better was one of the big goals of mine. I was in the gym over summer just trying to put a little bit more size on, just so I am able to throw myself around a little bit more and win a few more clearances and some more contested footy. So that was definitely one of the big things I was trying to work on.
Oh, beautiful. Now, Brennan and I both know that you've been interviewed by a lot of clubs, and we always know they ask some very random questions. So I wanted to ask, what's the weirdest question that you've had so far from an AFL club?
I got asked this the other day, and I had the answer, but now I've completely forgotten it.
All right.
One thing that I haven't been able to answer, I've meant to be thinking of it over the last few days, is a few clubs have asked me what my most prized possession is, and I actually can't answer it. I actually don't know. I'm supposed to be thinking of it over the last few days, but it's just one that stumped me. But there was another one that I think Adelaide asked that just really hit me from left field, and it sort of got me. But if I think of it during the time we're on, I'll let you know. But I've forgotten it. So
no problem. All good, mate. No stress. So you've played with a lot of talented players in all the programs that you've come up with at Caulfield, and obviously through all of the Vic Country stuff. Who is the most talented player that you've played with or against, and what have you learnt from that player?
Well, yeah, there's a long list.
There is a lot.
Well, counting playing with and against, if we're counting that, it's pretty hard to go past Rowley. Playing against him for last year. And playing against him in the Nationals. It's a very, very hard one to stop, old Rowley. So, yeah, he's definitely one, but a couple that I played with, obviously Fisher. Fisher's now at Adelaide. I didn't really get a full crack at it with year 11 with him because he had a couple of injuries he was managing, but in the year 12 year, he really stood up as captain of Caulfield and really drove us to that flag amongst others like Will Phillips. Again, I played with him since the under 15s, and yeah, he never seems to stop going on to another level. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that when he's back out playing, he goes to another one. And playing a few with Jamara, again, obviously it's just that talent is, it's immense. He's put it on show for Oakley at the back end last year, and I think in the first couple of practice matches this year, he was starting to turn it on. So yeah, those three definitely, or four, are definitely up there.
Okay, cool.
I've got one last question. You've already spoken about your aspirations for leadership roles in the future. So what advice would you give to any aspiring footballers and their future as they navigate through their football journey?
Well, one of the things that I've found over the past few years is that when I've really tried to take it too seriously and lose the fun out of it, that's sort of when my performance tends to go downhill. I think everyone plays footy for a reason and because they enjoy it. So if you start to lose that enjoyment, I think that's when things go downhill. So I tried to recapture that a little bit last year. I think through the Nationals, I really started to worry about how well I was going to play and instead of going out there and having fun. So yeah, recapturing that in the middle of last year and the back end of last year, I think really helped me play some good footy. So that's one of the things that I would suggest is to just never try and lose that enjoyment.
Yep. Awesome. We really appreciate your time today, Elijah. It's been really good to hear your story. We only wish you the best of luck for the future, leading into the draft and your career. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you very much, Brendan. Thank you, Greg. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, bud.